Hi, I'm Terrinique Pennerman, founder of the best-selling naturally curly hair care brand Curly Bell and host of the Terrinique Show, a show where we talk about hair, a woman's crowning glory. I'm so happy that you've allowed us to be a part of your hair care journey, and I hope that you enjoy the show. Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Terrinique Show. I'm so happy that you guys have decided to join us again for yet another episode. Please like, follow, share, subscribe if any of the information that we share here today is helpful to you. We are the Terrinique Show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. The Terrinique Show everywhere. So for today's episode, we have a special guest, our first guest on the podcast, and he is a formulation chemist at heart. His name is Nirmal Shah, and thank you for joining us, Nirmal. I'm so excited to have you here and to dive deep into ingredients that we put in our hair care products and we put on our hair. So I'm so happy to have you. Nirmal, he formulates skincare and hair care products, and he is working now as a technical director for one of the largest raw material distributors in the US. Thank you so much for joining us, Nirmal.
Thank you so much, Terrinique. It's my pleasure. I have been watching your product line, the brand, and also the Terrinique show that's just started recently, and I'm really excited to be part of that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You have always been a great supporter of, our brand. So I'm so happy to have you on. First of all, our topic for today, guys, is are silicones really bad for your hair? Silicones get a really bad rap in the hair care industry, in the curly hair industry. So I wanted to bring an expert on to talk about silicones. Like, do we really have to worry about them? So Nirmal, please feel free to share any information about your background, and we can dive right into our talk on silicones.
You shared enough, so I'm ready to just go with the conversations here. Thank you.
Okay. So I've done a little research on silicones here at Curly Bell. We do have silicones in some of our products. One of our products, the Tropical Curl Enhancing Foam, we have, I believe it's Dementacone. I don't say this word right, so you have to, jump in here. Dementacone. We have that in our foam. And I just want to know, like, what are silicones and are they really made from sand? Because that seems to be like a very weird, like, ingredient,
Yeah, so
made from.
yeah, it is indeed actually derived from sand, the sandstone, with the process. Definitely, it's a natural derived from the natural source, but it goes through a series of chemical reactions in the lab. So it's hard to define if it falls under natural category or synthetic category. It's a combination. It's definitely created in the lab. So it's definitely derived from sand, as you said. You're spot on, but it's processed with water, with a lot of chemical reactions, and also natural gas methane. So
Okay, so that's an interesting thing to make an ingredient from. Okay, but the question that's on everybody's mind when it comes to silicones, like, are they really bad for the hair?
before we talk about are they good or bad, because that's a very broad and debatable topic. It's like asking if coffee is good for you. When you ask people if coffee is good for you, it- there will be half of the nation would say it's good for you, and half of the nation would say it's bad for you, right? So I just want to maybe share what are silicones, and especially focus on the hair care because that's our focus for the topic today. So in hair care, I think there are four different types of silicons. Like I said, there are different types of silicons. They are created in the lab with different chemical reactions. The four major that are used in hair care are First is cyclopentasiloxanes. Those are the lightest weight silicons. They are used with a lot of alcohol replacements because they do have very high flash points, and they are very light, just like the very similar to the alcohol texture. So those
Okay.
are cyclopentasiloxanes, which are used. You'll see in a lot of hairsprays, mist, and stuff like that. The second category, which is a broader category, is dimethicones. This is where you have cymethicones, amimethicones. There are so many different of types of dimethicones available. They are also categorized as per their center stroke, which is their units, CSTs. It's ranging from 5 CST to 10,000 CSTs and above. So it's a broad range. Smaller the number of CST is lighter weight, and then heavier it gets cross-linked, and it gets thicker in texture. The third, I would say, are a lot of dimethicone cross polymers, which can be cross-linked with PEGs, with other silicons, and a lot of cross polymers. Those are mostly to give the body to the formulations. And the final ones, which is very commonly used in hair care, is phenyltrimethicone. And phenyltrimethicone are typically used for their heavy texture, but also the shine and the luster that you get from the formulation. So I just want to describe the 4 different categories of silicons, and each one has their own applications as I described. So good or bad, it's questionable. It depends on the usage level and their application.
Okay, all right. Well, in this case, if you're using a silicone in a foam or a mousse type product, what is that doing to the hair when you use it? And then can it be washed off easily, or does it stay on the hair?
Sure. So honestly, we don't use a lot of silicons in the foam kind of product because actually silicons are so occlusive that they actually help with reducing the foam. So it kind of work against if you're trying to achieve foam in your product, it just works against that. However, it does provide the nice glide in the mousse kind of application. So again, it goes back to the usage level. This is where the formulation, the artists that are playing in the lab, and creating all these beautiful formulas, like yourself too, kind of gauge the percentages, right? So ideally, if you ask me, like 0.5 to 1% is good enough for your mousse kind of formula, because it will give you this slide that you're looking for and the texture that you're looking for, but not affect the foaming properties. And also the cross polymers that I mentioned, one of the categories of silicons that work really well because that can provide that bouncy texture of your mousse formulation.
Yeah, and like with curly hair, we need the glide, we need the bounce, we need the shine. So
Yeah.
all of that we need because curly hair sometimes can look dull and dry. So we do need the silicone look to give us silicones to give us that look of bounce and of shine. So that makes sense.
Very good to know.
And then when we're applying the product, because I use a foam all the time, I do like the glide feel when I'm applying it to the hair, and as I see the curls form when I apply it. So that makes a lot of sense to me, actually.
Perfect. Good. No, and that I learned a lot too, just like how you described. So thank you.
Yeah. So do we dive deeper into like our silicone spot for the hair? We've kind of talked about it giving the shine, the luster, allowing, the product to glide through the hair, which we need. If you have like tightly coiled curls, that is one of the things that we need when it comes to detangling. And so that when we detangle the hair, the only way the curls look good is if the hair is detangled. So if we're going to use a silicone, that helps with the product being able to glide through the hair and helps the hair to be more detangled. So it sounds to me like, no, it's not bad, but what are silicones bad for the hair? Like people have been saying, or how do we break it down?
So it does have a bad reputation out there, with there's a lot of fear mongering activity going on. So that's also kind of labeled them as bad. But from the formulation perspective, they are just a handy tool to make unique textures. So I would not say they are bad, but let's just maybe if you have to deep down that why the silicons might be bad or might be considered bad, because by nature they are very occlusive and they are bigger molecules, so they don't penetrate the skin like any other ingredients do, right? So they sit on your scalp, they sit on the skin, and that's the main purpose of silicons, to provide that film forming activity. But when there's a lot more film forming activity, it also kind of leaves the residue. And especially with the curly hair, I'm sure it leaves a lot more residues between the hair and on the scalp, and that kind of creates a dry flakes, right? So
Yeah,
I think and this goes back to the usage level, right? If silicons are also, first of all, they're occlusive, second, they are definitely not water soluble, so you need to really come up with a good formula and good emulsifier system to incorporate that silicons in your water-based formulas, right?
right.
So it all comes back to the formulation tactics and what other ingredients they are using it. But silicons in general might not be bad. It just, if the usage levels are not right, it can
Right.
leave a residue and it can cause the flaking. There's a
Mhm.
lot of positive cationic reactions also going on, which counteract, with other ingredients in the formula, and that can create a negative charge, and that creates a flaking part of it.
Okay,
So I hope that helps rather than going on one direction, good or bad. I think that helps educate a little bit. Yeah.
so then if you're using silicones in your hair product to get it off because it creates that film on top of the hair, you definitely need to have a regimen in place with like shampooing. So use
Yes.
a good shampoo. You don't want to just keep piling on products that have silicone and not cleansing the hair, is what I'm,
Yes.
okay,
I think that's what I'm thinking too.
yeah.
Yes, 100%. You're spot on. Yeah.
Because in the curly hair community, there are a lot of women that they will not shampoo their hair, but they will use conditioners to hair
Oh, okay.
wash because
Got
they
it.
find that shampoos can be stripping. But I am
Mm,
an advocate for using shampoos because shampoos are made to cleanse the hair and the scalp, right? To get rid of the build, all the product buildup. But
mm.
conditioners are used to condition the hair, moisturize
Yes.
the hair. So when
Yes.
you're replacing the cleansing agent with a conditioning agent, then you have problems. So I can
Yes.
see why if you're using a product that has silicone and you're using the conditioner to cleanse, that's a recipe for disaster, which can cause right buildup, breakage,
Yes.
um, dandruff, like all sorts of
Yes.
issues. So I think
Exactly.
the key here to have in mind that are silicones bad? No, they're not bad, but you do need to use a cleansing agent to get them off of the hair and off of the scalp.
True.
That's what
True.
I'm getting. Because from your scientific terms, I'm like, okay, this is what I'm this is
Yeah,
what
no, no, you're just spot on. You are. I was envisioning, how it gets the silicons are building up on the hair. But two things, just to add on to whatever you said, is uh, dimethyl on silicons itself have some conditioning effect, by the way. So if you're considering silicons for different activity, but also using conditioners, you're right. You are piling up a uh, uh, lot of layers on the hair without stripping them off, right?
Mhm.
So and also the formulation can also be created that the formulation is created that way that not a lot of silicone sits on your skin.
Right.
It just has more oil part of it. The oil base can have the oils part of it. There might be some surfactants in the formula in the conditioner just to give that rinse off activity. So it does help with your product, and 100% depending on the regimen that been used.
Right. So
Yeah.
my takeaway from this, if you're going to use products that have silicone, silicones are not bad for the hair, but you need to use a cleansing agent, which is a shampoo, not a conditioner, to
100%.
rinse it out of the hair. So that's what I get from that.
Even oil-based cleansers would help, because that will take off more, because water-based cleansers would take off the water-soluble parts, but then oil-soluble cleansers would take off the oil soluble part of it, which are silicones are oil soluble, right? So sometimes they might not be easily coming off through water based cleansers. So that way, oil based cleansers might also help. Just a thought here. Yeah.
That's a good, I just learned something, so that's good. So on to our next question. Are there any silicones that are better than others for the hair?
I think it all goes back to the application and what you're trying to do and use the silicones for. Like I mentioned, the phenyltrimethicone provides the shine, the cross polymers provides the body, the cyclopentasiloxanes, the lightweighted silicones provide the texture and the dry fill. So I don't think they're better because there are so many different categories. They each have their own functions. That's how I would say. Yeah.
Okay, all right, so there's no one that's better than the other, so
Yeah,
look,
it's a silicone. Yeah.
yeah, okay, just use the product and wash it out with a cleanser.
Yeah.
So are there any negative effects of silicones on the hair? I know we talked about if if your regimen is not to use a cleanser, then yes, you're gonna have buildup issues. But are there any negative effects of using silicones in the hair?
I think overuse of silicones might just feel that it's a negative. It's like we talked about the flaking and the buildup. I think that might definitely be sounding as negative. And just because of their occlusive nature, it kind of actually blocks. If you're using some ingredients like glycolic acid and some anti-aging peptides or some ingredients that you want to penetrate in the skin, I think the silicones, if they're too much in the formula, might prevent because they might prevent the penetration of those ingredients. So that's something you might be careful about. Yeah.
So when you say that, when I think about peptides, I think about skincare. So people
Yes.
use silicones in skin, so it's used in skincare. Is it a common
Oh
ingredient?
yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's widely used in skincare. In fact, all the nice textures that you get on skincare products, I mean, most of them you will see will have silicones. They are pretty favorite ingredient for water in oil and water in silicone emulsions as well. It's widely used in skincare as well. Yeah.
Oh, so it's a common ingredient that you use in skincare. But then when you think about putting it on the skin and then it forming a film, like with me, I would cleanse my face, say with a cleansing soap or whatnot. I think it's water based. So if we're using it on the skin, and I know that you're an expert in skincare, as well as hair care. If we're using this on the skin, then we need to use a oil-based cleanser. What would that look like?
I think it depends on your skin type too, right? Because some people have a dry skin, some people have oily skin. So it also depends on what you're trying to cleanse. Like for men, we're not trying to clean a lot of makeup. We just want to cleanse, right?
Right.
But I think for women, which are using heavy makeup and they want to clean those makeup, then you need that oil soluble cleansers to take away the oil parts of it, which are makeups are heavily oil-based formulas. So they need that oil-based cleansers to take the oil residue out of it. Sometimes water-based cleansers might not do the trick.
Okay. So I mean, this is just this conversation, it just has me thinking like
Yeah, I know.
like my what do you call it? Like the clocks where they just are moving.
Oh,
That's
yes.
in my brain. We
The
definitely
monkey mind, yes.
winding and winding. I'm like, okay, so we definitely have to have you on again to dive a bit deeper into ingredients like
Yeah.
that are in hair care and skincare. Because
Yeah.
as you think about it, if you're a lot of women suffer from acne and they're like, why am I getting acne? But yeah, you're piling on the skincare products, it's putting a film on your hair, and then you're on your skin, sorry, and then you're putting on makeup, you're wearing a ton of makeup, and then you're not cleansing properly. I know a lot of women have like this 7-step cleansing process, but just
Mhm.
understanding the ingredients that are in the products
Yeah.
that are leaving on your skin or on your hair, and then understanding the cleansing agents that you need to remove them properly so that
Mhm.
your
Yeah.
skin can breathe and your hair can breathe properly, right?
Yeah.
Just
Yep. Nope.
films.
Yep. Yeah.
So I don't know, this is just so interesting and just so
Yeah.
eye-opening, right?
Yeah, and I would add one more thing to it, just because we are talking about silicons and positive or negative, irrespective of that. I cannot, as a formulator, I cannot take a side, right? Because as a formulator, we need all the tools in our bag to create good formulas. But I think I would do mention though, because of there's a lot of negative rep with silicons out in the market, the raw material manufacturers and creators have also come up with a lot of innovative ingredients made out of coconut alkanes or blend of different esters, or even oil blends to kind of create a formula to create the exact texture of silicons. Now if they're direct replacements of silicons, it's not yes or no answer, but they have done pretty good job with coming up with innovation. So I had to kind of give kudos and credits to all the innovators uh, who have adapted to the industry trends and what social media is telling them to it's a necessity of necessity is the mother of invention, kind of, so
Yeah, no, that makes sense. It's just like from the consumer part of it, we go into a store, we buy a product, we like it, we don't understand the chemistry behind it. We just using it, right? The application of it. And then if you have a negative effect where you have dandruff or acne, just kind of understanding why this may happen. It's not necessarily that the product is bad or the ingredient is bad. It is, you have to have a routine behind whatever it is you're using.
Yep. Understanding your own skin, understanding the products, understanding the ingredients. I think I'm very much impressed with the community, with the brands, and even then consumers getting so educated about the ingredients now
Yeah,
that they're definitely more educated. So
right.
we formulators also learn from them, because we get the real time experience on what is needed, what is the need out in the market. So.
Right. And that's been like the foundation of our brand, Curly Bell. Like we want to educate the consumers, not just here's the products, use it, but we want to educate them on the ingredients that are in the products and why we chose the ingredients, because it is for better hair, better, health of the hair. We're not just randomly choosing ingredients we don't have any fillers in our products. We're using real natural ingredients and ingredients that benefit the hair. At the same time, you need to use the products the way they are supposed to be used, not doing your own little thing with because there's a science behind it, right?
Yeah, you still, even if water, you're just playing with the chemicals here. So there has a purpose of the ingredients that you put on your skin and hair. So
Okay. So our last question is a silicone-free hair routine better than a silicone hair routine? I think I know the answer to that, but it's a question, so we can go let you answer that.
I think it goes back to, I think the answer is hidden in all the conversations that we had in last 15 minutes.
Yes.
It just understanding your own skin type, understanding the usage level of the ingredients, like be careful about what you're seeing, the reaction and effect of the product that you're using, be more mindful about that and just adapt. And if they're really looking for silicone free, like I mentioned, there are options to look for alkanes, look for esters, look for oil blends that give you the same effect of silicons from the texture perspective, and even some shine and glide to your formulas and to your hair. So just again, going back to knowing your own hair type and skin type, and just be more watchful about the ingredients, I would say.
Yeah.
And I'm not the expert on the consumer side, so I think that's what I would say.
Yeah, okay. Well, thank you. This has definitely been very helpful. All this information has been helpful. And I hope that our audience enjoyed what was shared here today. If you have enjoyed what was shared here today, please give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, and follow. We are the Terrinique Show. on YouTube, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, and TikTok. Thank you so much, Nirmal,
Thank you
for
so much.
joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
This was such a great and informative interview on silicones and are they good or are they bad for the hair? We will definitely have you back on to share more about ingredients in hair care and skincare, because I'm just thinking like, okay, let's get a deep dive into hair care and skincare. Because
Yeah, I'm looking forward to learn as well because you do bring good perspective and helps us as well. So thank you so much.
thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Take care. Bye.